Greetings, friends. Father John here, and this week I'm coming to you from the top of Sugarloaf Mountain, a mountain I'm sure that many of you are familiar with. And I'm up here today because it has been a point of inspiration, or a location of inspiration for me this week as I have been mulling over our gospel lesson from St. Luke and discerning what it is that God is saying in that passage. And this week we hear the great story of Mary and Martha, and Jesus' teaching in his interaction with them, his teaching to stop and to step back from the busyness and hurriedness of life, the things that we can so often kind of put in front of us, the busyness that we can surround ourselves with, and to enjoy the presence of God, if even briefly, in those moments of busied hurriedness. And I think about that in relationship to Sugarloaf, because I suspect, like many of you, Sugarloaf is always sort of on the horizon in my daily life, whether it's going to and from the church on Ridge Road, or dropping Anna off or picking her up from daycare in Germantown. The reality is that many times throughout my day, I catch a view of Sugarloaf out of the corner of my eye. And I'm reminded in that moment of the great place that this is, the beautiful trails that are offered here, the incredible vistas and views that you can find. And sort of like interacting with God and experiencing his presence in our lives, I have that briefest moment of peace and tranquility in seeing Sugarloaf and in thinking about all of the beauty and all of the goodness that is here. And the invitation to us this week is to sit with those glimpses and those moments of beauty, to stop the hurriedness of our lives when we have that moment of peace and quiet, that moment of God's presence that pops up. And sometimes it seems to pop up more inadvertently than others. Sometimes it seems to pop up inconveniently when we have all sorts of tasks and busy work at hand. But what we hear in Jesus' invitation this week is, even in those moments of hurried busyness, to stop, to take that moment, to rest in the reassurance of God's love, to rest in the reassurance of his presence, and to be renewed and rejuvenated in that glimpse of his work among us and his ongoing life in us. And so, as I enjoy that moment of presence and that moment of peace here on Sugarloaf today, I also invite you to think about where you might find that peace and presence in your own life. Those glimpses that you may have that sometimes get ignored or just barely glimpsed because of so many other things and so many other distractions that consume you. How can you, too, stop and take a moment and reflect on the peace and quiet and beauty of God's presence in your life? Friends, today, as always, I offer my warmest blessings and love.